I'm not sure where you're at when it comes to believing in God, but it's really important to understand that those of us who come from broken families so often struggle extra in our relationship with God. How does that look? How does that play out? Often we feel angry at God for letting our family fall apart. We struggle to understand in a similar way why God would allow something like that to happen. We often have an extra distorted image of God. I think as humans, we all have a distorted image of God, but when we come from a broken family, we tend to think that God is like our parents. And so that can lead us to making assumptions about him that might not actually be true. And also we struggle to trust in God, doubting that he's actually good. And so a few things you can say, assuming you believe in God. It's understandable that they feel the way that they do. You can tell them that. It's understandable that you feel angry toward God because it's true. God could have prevented this from happening. He could have miraculously made this go away, fixed the situation. And so the challenge there is for them to bring their anger to him, to talk to him about it instead of just running from him and keeping it all bottled up inside. You can also explain why God allows evil. This is not an easy thing to do. And if you don't feel equipped to do that, I suggest that you just give them a resource that they can use to learn why God might allow evil to happen. You can give them a resource such as C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity or Dr. Peter Kreeft's Pocket Handbook of Christian Apologetics. Another great resource is a YouTube video by Father Mike Schmitz. You can search Father Mike, Why Does God Let Bad Things Happen? You can also explain that God is not like their parents. You can't untwist that distorted image that they have of God. They have to do that themselves. But in order to fix that, they really need to get to know him on a personal level. How do they do that? Through scripture and through prayer. And if they're Catholic, they can make use of the sacraments and the saints to really dive in and understand who really is God. And one exercise that a lot of people have found helpful is making two lists. One list is what they feel, what they think, often on a subconscious level about God, what they think God is like. And then to seek the truth about God and make a list of that as well and compare the two and start to suffocate, honestly, those lies, those untruths with the truth about God. Now, the only way that they'll believe that God is trustworthy is if they actually believe that he's good, that he loves them, that he wants the best for them. And so you can't magically take that doubt away, take that lack of trust away from them, but you can share on a personal level why you trust God and how he's come through for you in your life. You can tell them that God doesn't want this to happen. In fact, he hates that this is happening. In scripture, in Malachi 2:16, it says, God hates divorce. And so even if it's necessary in a situation of abuse or violence, he still hates that this is happening. It's not his original plan for you. Now, at the end of the day, don't be surprised if those arguments, those explanations don't satisfy the person that you're trying to help. Honestly, they didn't satisfy me because I was so seriously wrestling with the questions. God, why would you allow this to happen? Where were you when my family was falling apart, when I was going through so much pain? Because honestly, it felt like he was watching from a distance. It felt like he was sitting on the sidelines as I got beat up. And so I've had to wrestle with the question, God, where were you? And it didn't all come at once, but over time, through a lot of prayer and spiritual direction, I came to realize that God wasn't watching from a distance. He was right there with that 11-year-old Joey in the closet, sitting next to me, crying too. He was saying, I hate that this is happening. This breaks my heart too. It's not supposed to be this way. And so what I learned, it was not a quick process, but what I learned is that sometimes God's only response to our pain is his presence. Father Mike Schmitz said that, and I think it's so true. And so what has been helpful for me is just realizing that God is in the midst of my suffering. And I think the best proof for that is Jesus on the cross. Like we can never say that God doesn't know what it's like to suffer. But I can't lie. It's still a struggle at times. It's still a struggle to understand why God allows often senseless suffering, or what seems like senseless suffering, like serious diseases, natural disasters, little kids getting cancer. It's really hard to understand why God would let this happen. And so it's helpful to know that all evil in the world stems from original sin. And God's reason for allowing evil in a sentence, is that he respects our human freedom so much that somehow it's worth it for him. And I'll be honest with you, that's a mystery. I don't understand that fully, but I have to trust that he has a better plan. And that even in those situations, when things are really broken and really messy, he can bring good out of it. That's actually his specialty. He's really good at bringing good out of evil. And so in those situations, I'm challenged to really trust God. I'm challenged to trust that he actually knows what he's doing, that he's actually good. But St. John Newman said it so well. He said it so beautifully when he said, "Therefore I will trust him. Whatever I am, I can never be thrown away. If I am in sickness, my sickness may serve him. In perplexity, my perplexity may serve him. If I am in sorrow, my sorrow may serve him. He does nothing in vain. He knows what he is about. He may take away my friends. He may throw me among strangers. He may make me feel desolate, make my spirit sink, hide my future from me. Still, he knows what he's about." And so remind the person you're trying to help that God is present in their pain, and do the best you can to answer their objections and offer them resources that they can use to answer those objections. But at the end of the day, the best solution to all of these problems is a personal relationship with God, which I totally understand can have a lot of barriers for someone like that, but still encourage them, pray for them, and hopefully one day they'll have a relationship with God.